of Principal Eats. Being a former English teacher, I like, chapter 2. And yeah, I'm wearing our school shirt just for our shout out. Today we're going to make pasta sauce, and or spaghetti sauce, or some people call it gravy. We never did growing up. We just called it pasta sauce or spaghetti sauce. And I remember learning how to do this from both my mom and from my boo-boo, my grandma. I'd come home from high school. A little quick story. I'd come home from high school, and at 3 o'clock every day, General Hospital was on. And my grandmother never missed General Hospital. So I'd sit there and watch it with her, and I became an aficionado at 15, 16, 17 years old on a soap opera. Not something to necessarily be proud of, but it was fun. And then when my mom and dad were cooking, were working, Boop and I would go in the kitchen and we'd make sauce, and it was fun. So this is a variation. What we did is, as we started yesterday or the other day, is we panned our pan so Mom doesn't yell at us, and there's a little bit of vegetable oil in the bottom of our stock pot. And the first thing we're going to do, and this is optional, you don't have to do this, it's the way I like it, I love onions. So we're going to do just like we did the other day, and we are going to chop an onion. Now, like I told you last time with our chicken noodle soup, you can make this as refined as you'd like. I'm going not so refined again. But these are pretty big chunks. But if this sauce is going to cook, and this sauce is going to cook for a number of hours, these kind of things will just, do their thing, which I'm kind of excited about. So we're going to start with that. Again, as we said the other day, is kind of just throw these bad boys in there. That's a lot of onion. You may not want that much, but I like onion. At this particular point, if you wanted to put mushrooms in it, you could put mushrooms in it. If you were going to make a sauce that had like ground beef or ground pork or something like that, you're going to make a meat sauce, I'd cook that off to the side so I can drain some of the fat. But as the onions start to sweat down and cook, that's when I would add the meat as well before I go into these next couple steps. Other thing you could use, I saw this in the store today, is a shallot. This is a banana shallot, and it's ginormous, and I love shallots. So you could use these too if you wanted to, but we're not going to use them today. We're using a big fat onion, which is also delicious. Is the first, first lesson I'm going to teach you that some people may say, why did you tell them to do that? They're students. But when you travel the world, and some of you will, when you go to Spain, Italia, Argentina, and Iceland, people cook with wine. So we're going to add some wine to this base, and then I'll show you what it all looks like. We're going to add some wine to this base. If your family doesn't do wine, don't do wine. Take it out. Just use some stock or use water once we get to this point. It's totally fine. But as an educator, I think it's important for you to know that, around the world, even in Texas, I suppose, they cook with wine. So I got my onions going, and now, since they're going, I'm going to have to move a little bit quickly. This is the only part of the sauce that you're going to have to move quickly in, because as I add my already minced garlic, which I'm going to do right now, I don't want this to burn. This can burn quickly, as we talked about before. So, take my teaspoon, whatever, I'm throwing in a good chunk of that, because I'm using garlic in other places. But, oh my gosh, it smells amazing already. We didn't even do anything, and it smells amazing. So, get that garlic moving around. This is where it becomes critical. I'm moving quickly, as you can see, because I don't want the garlic to burn. Tomato paste, bottom of the pot. Gonna let that render for 10 seconds. Again, I don't want my garlic to burn, but it smells incredible. Now here comes the controversial part. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, that's totally cool with me. If you don't do the wine at this point, add the stock. You gotta have something in the bottom of your pan so that garlic doesn't burn. And I just used maybe a quarter of a bottle. Not even. I don't know my math. Is a quarter or a third? Probably a quarter. A third sounds like too much. And now I don't know if you could hear it, because I don't know, what the sound is like, but the onions have stopped sizzling, and they're just mellowing. And they're mellowing with some tomato paste and some garlic, and it smells incredible. And I'm going to let that go for a little bit. I probably, if we weren't trying to do this, I might have sweated the onions a little bit longer, just saying. Or if I had mushrooms in there, I definitely would have let that go a little bit longer. And now this key ingredient, the tomato paste, that's going to thicken things. So I used very little bit right now because the sauce is going to go for a while. Okay, so I want that to cook for a few minutes before I add my stock. I just want the wine to kind of, I don't know, kiss the onions, kiss the garlic, do what it does. We're going to use whole San Marzano tomatoes. They are the best. And you could, quite simply, as I said before, just toss this in a pot. You could do that, and give that another stir. We're getting to a point where I gotta get moving again. These will cook down, and you don't have to use the Whiz Master that we're going to use right now. But a lot of times I do that too, just because if I come home and I want it to be a quick sauce, I don't want to wait all day for these bad boys to just break down. So, in the pot they go. This is where you probably should be wearing an apron, but I live alone. If I get messy, I get messy. I'm saving the can, and I'll show you why in a minute. I've got my whole tomatoes in there. What we're going to add to that is just some basil. And I'm not going to be dainty with the basil because it's going to go in the Whiz Master. In it goes. I'm saving the other basil because we're going to use it later when we plate our food, or if the sauce needs a little more, love of basil. Some chefs will tell you don't put basil in right away. I don't know why. Tastes delicious, smells delicious. Now I got some garlic, big garlic cloves. I'll take the little end off just like that because it's hard and difficult. And then just like that with your knife. And again, just like that with your knife. Then these bad boys go right in. As big as that, because the Whiz Master is going to do its thing. Okay, that's our Whiz Master. Again, if you don't want to clean this, you don't have this tool, you don't need it. I'm just pulsing it. I could turn this thing on and go bzzz and let this just completely pulverize, but I want a thicker sauce today. If I wanted a thinner sauce, then I would continue to pulverize it. We're not going to do that. Okay, this is the part where I would say do not try this at home. But you're cooking at home, so you're going to have to try it. I'd probably have mom or dad help you with this, just because this beautiful sensation that we've been using here, the wine and the onions and the garlic, it's been cooking, so it's hot. So to get said tomatoes here into said pot, it can get splashy. So let's just be careful with it. Also, little known thing, if you pull out the blade, that's a white part in there, there's a hole in the bottom. That makes the blade work. You pull out the blade, you may lose all your sauce. So I don't pull it all out. I just, kind of go for it. So, dangerous part. Here we go. Drum roll, please, because, you can take your spoon like I'm doing, trying to hold the blade in. Or if the blade falls in, guess what? Grab your tongs and fish it out. But all that beautiful goodness, I want to get out of there. And the way to do that is my veggie stock. I got all this beautiful goodness in here. I'll whiz that around a little bit, you know what I mean? And I'll also take my empty can, because that's got beautiful bits in it. And guess what? I was going to add some of this stock anyway. And it could be chicken stock, veggie stock, whatever the case may be. Be careful. That was a tough move also. Boom. In it goes. Delicious. I saved some of that stuff. Here goes this veggie stock. Get some of that. Whisk around in there. Boom. I saved some of that. Cool. We made our first mess, but that's all right, man. We just have to clean it up. That's what you do. And, mom and dad will be like, wow, you are super kids. You're making pasta sauce, like, not out of a jar, and you're also going to clean up. You're going to be kid of the century. Okay, I'm going to make this kind of work its magic, and I could stop there. I could. And this will go for a while and be delicious, and you'll have to keep adding some stock or adding water, because as it cooks, things evaporate and the sauce will start to, lessen in volume. So I'm sure there's a cooking term for that. I don't know. I've lost it off the top of my head. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm cooking, it's only me, but I'm going to cook what I call a vat of sauce, because I can also freeze it. And then next week, when I don't feel like going through this process, even though you can see how simple it is, I can pull out the freezer sauce, the sauce we froze, put in the pan, done in 2 seconds. So, here's what I'm going to add this time. I'm not going to add the whole tomatoes this time, because this company, which is delicious and wonderful, they have something called crushed tomatoes or pureed tomatoes. I don't use pureed tomatoes. Tomato puree is just not, I don't know. I just don't like it. So these are now crushed tomatoes. Now, could I have bought 2 cans of crushed tomato and put it in here? Yes. But there's something beautiful about the whole tomato that when I don't whiz it and just put it in here too and let it cook all day, it just, I don't know, it just falls apart and I don't know. But I'm going to add crushed tomatoes because I'm making a vat of this for obvious reasons. During these times, you want to have as much stuff as food as you'd like. Now, right now, this is pretty thick. So, I'm going to teach you that trick that my mom or my dad or one of them taught me, or my boo-boop, I'm not sure. I'm going to add just a little bit more stock. Or at this point, I could go to the sink. I'll do it. What the heck? And add a little water, and then my sauce, I'm making it a little bit more liquid, and oh yeah, now it's going to be really thick. So I'm actually, since I'm out of stock, I'm going to add a little more water. And I'm adding that because it's 10 a.m. No, it's 3 a.m. I was thinking of Matchbox 20 song. Matchbox 20 song 3 a.m. One of my favorites. It's not 10 a.m., but that would have been cool if Rob Thomas, nice reference there, was singing about 10 a.m. and pasta sauce, but he wasn't in that particular song. Actually, go listen to it. It's a cool song. It's sad because it's about his mom, but stupidly good song. I love when I say that, stupidly good. But right now we have a base to start, except for the fun stuff we need to add. So we're going to throw a little bit of this in. I could let this go for a little bit before adding these. I could come back in 20 minutes and let this base start to do what it wants to do. But we got to add some fun to it. So we already have fresh basil, but I'm going to throw a little more basil in just because. Dried basil sometimes will help a little bit with the flavoring as well. Parsley. Again, if we had fresh, we would. I'm doing that same trick. Some people don't put parsley in their sauce. So be it. I'm going to use both garlic and onion powder. Remember what we said. Try not to use the onion salt or the garlic salt. And again, eyeball this. God, that's delicious. I'll let you take a peek before I stir. Onion powder. A little bit there. This you have to be careful with. We talked about the other day. I'm adding oregano because Poppy and I love oregano. So for my dad, this is a shout out to you. Some oregano. Be careful with oregano. It can go a long way. I think we talked about that with the chicken noodle soup. And my favorite kitchen gadget is this. It's made of stone. My mom got it for me. And there's salt on one side and pepper on the other. I think in Italian you call it sale e pepe, but I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. So somebody let me know. So salt. Try not to be too liberal, and I'm not going to use the no salt right now. I'm going to use that as this moves forward. A little bit of black pepper. Actually, it's a lot of black pepper because I love it. And then I'm going back to crushed red pepper. You want it? Go for it. You don't want it? Don't put it in. So in we go. Again, using that little trick, using the palm of my hand. I'll stir that. I'll come back, show you what it looks like in a little bit. And then show you the finished product with the kind of pasta we're going to cook tonight. And that's going to be a special treat. I'll show you in a minute. It's been bubbling and it's starting to smell wonderful. It's still a young sauce at this point, but it's starting to smell wonderful. One of the things you need to do, and we talked about it when we made our chicken and orzo soup, I keep calling it chicken noodle, but we threw each other a curveball with that, is during the course of it, you have to take a fancy-dancy plate like this, and you have to taste it. Now, at this particular juncture, I gave it a good stir so I could see where I was with it, right? And then, blow on it because it's going to be hot. And taste it, and you're tasting it for spices. Do I need to add something or anything like that? It's a young sauce, but that one is going to be a good one. Not that I ever make one that's bad, but it's going to be a good one. Now, really quickly. I'm not going to add anything yet. I'm going to let it kind of keep doing its thing, and it's just dancing in the pot. It's just on a low simmer, and it's just kind of doing its thing. If you were my brother, by the way, my older brother, who I love dearly, you know, I love all my family dearly, but he wouldn't have done a taste testing with the spoon. He would have taken a big hunk of bread, because I'm going to have bread with this later, and dipped the piece of bread in and tried it in. That might be a better way to go about it, but anyway, I was trying to teach you a technical way to taste your food before you season it. I'm not going to do anything to the seasoning. Right now our seasoning is pretty good. I can already tell I might want to add a little more. I'll use the no salt, but it's going to need a little more salt and a little bit more black pepper, I think. But I want to see what happens. I want it to go for just a little bit longer and then decide, my taste might need a little more oregano. But this is going to cook for a while, so I might as well just let it dance for a little bit and then see where we're at. Alright, okay, so we're going to add some more onion powder just as we go along. We've got enough basil right now, okay, but as we keep tasting the sauce as we're going along, I'm going to add, like I said, a little more black pepper. And I'm not going to add more basil. I could, but we're going to use this stuff when we plate it. We're going to chiffonade it, as I told you the term to look up. So we're going to add a few more things. Hold on. I'm just re-seasoning at this point. That's all I'm doing. I'm doing, I don't know, like, I don't want to overdo it. It's oregano, so I'm going to do a pinch again, and that's going to be totally cool. And let's go from here. We'll stir that up. I'm going to see what that does for me. Again, I still know that I need a little bit more of the salt, which will be the no salt that we'll use. But I also am not going to put a ton of that right now because we're going to add some Parmesan cheese. And I know cheese is salty, so when I eat it, I'm going to put that on top of it. I'm using a coarse grade Parmesan. You could use whatever you wanted. You could use Romano cheese. You could also take a big bad hunk of provolone and a vegetable peeler and make beautiful ribbons of cheese. And that looks great on the top of the plate when you serve it. So that's where we're at. I'll keep coming back as I'm adding stuff. And then I'm going to tell you the kind of pasta we're going to cook tonight. Cool.
3 hours later.
Alright guys, I'm back. The sauce is just luscious. It's incredible. It smells great. If there was such thing as smell-o-vision, you'd all be at my house right now just gobbling it up. I wanted to let you know a surprise, and then in a bit I'll cook that and show you the finished product. You could use spaghetti for this sauce. You could use, I don't know, rigatoni, ziti. You could use lasagna noodles if you want. It doesn't really matter. It's just putting sauced, beautiful pasta. But what we're going to do is do something special tonight. And my mom or dad, I'm not sure, when they would come home and they have this come home, I was like, when are we eating? When are we eating? When are we eating? We're going to eat cavatelli. Now I know everything's mirrored and it's backwards, but cavatelli's in your frozen section, and it's delightful. You can do so much with cavatelli. Besides put it with red sauce, you could actually cook this and then make a pasta salad, a cold pasta salad for the next day. Like put it in the fridge and let it do its thing and make a cold pasta salad with olive oil and balsamic vinegar and a lot of vegetables and carrots and tomatoes cut up. And it's delicious. I learned from Martha Stewart. I never sat down with Martha Stewart, but one of her recipes is an uncooked pasta sauce. And you literally take Roma tomatoes and cherry tomatoes and red onion and all that kind of stuff, and parsley and oregano and garlic, fresh garlic, and you don't cook it. You make almost what a bruschetta is, what you would put on bread, and you put it on something like this after you cook this. So it's an uncooked pasta sauce with pasta. Delightful. So since I found these in the store, I was pretty darn excited. I almost danced down the aisle. I didn't, but I almost did because I love cavatelli. That's going to be our special treat tonight. That's what we're going to cook tonight. Hope you like it. It's quite lovely. We'll be back. Alright guys, time to cook the pasta. Some quick techniques. I've got water in here. I'm using a smaller pot right now because I'm not going to cook all those cavatelli. I'd love to, but I'm not going to. But make sure you got some good olive oil in the pan, or excuse me, in the pot, so that it doesn't stick. At this particular juncture, I would use regular salt, but I'm being good. My cardiologist will watch this and love me. I'm putting some no salt. It's it's smart to be liberal with the salt when you're cooking this, but because I'm using the no salt and I don't know, that's about what I'm going to do for the time being. One thing that I do with my pasta sometimes, and with cavatelli I do it all the time, olive oil so the pasta doesn't stick, and salt. I also, you've already found out from 2 episodes, love black pepper, so guess what? That's going in as well. So what I'll do is, sauce is coming out beautiful. I shouldn't probably say that. I should probably be like, no, that's terrible. Don't even do this. It's awful. Go get the jarred stuff. Because I don't think you're supposed to compliment yourself when you're a cook. I think I've heard that on the Food Network, but whatever. It smells good. It tastes good so far. Anyway, back to this. Back to our pot of water, which got the olive oil and salt. And for me, pepper. Dude, do what you will. It's a cooking. It's cooking. You're learning how to cook. I won't take out the cavatelli. I'm just telling you the step because it's going to be real quick. Once the water boils, put the cavatelli in. As soon as it floats, it's done. It's like 5 minutes. But I don't take the frozen pasta out, if I'm using frozen pasta, out of the freezer until the water's boiling and I'm ready to go hog wild and throw those bad boys in the pool. You know what I'm saying? So, alright guys, it's time to eat. I'm starving. The sauce smells great. It's been cooking and it's just, I don't know, I've had like 9 neighbors because I've had my kitchen window open and stop by and go, are you making your spaghetti sauce? I'm like, yeah, I am. They're like, can I have some later? So I hope when you make it, it's going to be delicious and delightful. So what's the next step? The next step is cooking the pasta. And like I told you, we have a treat because we are using cavatelli. And I don't know if it was my mom or my dad introduced me to it, but whenever I got introduced to it, I loved it. But water's boiling, and it's boiling vigorously. Cavatelli's only going to take 4 or 5 minutes. That's it. The package says 7 minutes. I think it lies. I go 5 minutes because I don't want my cavatelli. If I use cavatelli, ravioli, or gnocchi, and I cook it, I go under whatever the package says, because if you cook them, for whatever reason, those over, they become something that tastes like wallpaper paste. I've never eaten wallpaper paste, and I don't even know if people wallpaper their house anymore, but that's what I would imagine it be. So, what I'm going to do before that is, I've got this little stick of butter. It's a quarter of the unsalted butter. And I'm putting that in the sauce to finish, is what I'm doing. Now, some people will be like, butter's bad for your heart. Gee, why are you doing that? Just because there's something beautiful about it. It's unsalted butter, and it just gives this like silkiness, and I'll show you before I plate this all up, a silkiness to the sauce. So I finish it, whenever I'm ready to cook my pasta, I throw a little butter in, just go, wow, that's going to be sensational. So in it goes. I don't know. I'm hungry. I'm throwing a little extra. You know what I mean? So then I'll zip this back up, put a little something on it like this, clip it, put it in the freezer. This is going to cook. I'm going to stir it because I don't want it to stick, even though I put olive oil, salt, and for me, black pepper. And yes, I'm using the same spoon that I use for the sauce. Some of you might be like, that's disgusting, G. Why would you do that? I'm doing it because I'm going to only eat it with the sauce tonight. If I did the whole pound and I was going to use some of it tomorrow for a fresh pasta salad with cherry tomatoes and onions and basil, I wouldn't use the same spoon because I don't want the pasta sauce on there. But because this is going into this, I don't care. You know what I mean? It's boiling water. Like, dude, chill out. I don't want to have to clean 2 wood spoons. So that's a little trick. If I was doing the whole pot, the whole pound of cavatelli, I'd probably use a clean spoon and just not muddy the waters. I think that's a Doobie Brothers hit. I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is going to go for like 5 minutes. It says 5 to 7. We're going 5. All right, guys. Pasta's cooked. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next, and but I want to show you the sauce just for a second because it's just been bubbling away, and it's, I don't know, hopefully you can see that with the steam. It's thick, it's gorgeous and beautiful, and I've added water and a little more herbs and just kept tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it. So now we're ready for the next step because, I don't know, quite frankly, I'm hungry. So I cooked my pasta and put it in a colander. For like 1,000 years, I didn't know there was a word colander because when I grew up, this was a scroll de macaron. You just drain the pasta, drain the pasta. Colander, I didn't know that term. Look it up, have some fun. I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to a big bowl, a big pasta bowl. That's what I'm going to do. I'll move this out here. And I'm going to add some sauce to this. Now, if I cook the whole pound and I knew tomorrow I'm going to make pasta salad, fresh herbs, I would add some olive oil so this doesn't stick right now. But, you know, I'm going against some traditions. Some Italians are like, don't add sauce to it right now. But I'm going to add sauce so this doesn't stick because that's all I'm eating tonight. And it's beautiful and gorgeous and I like that. So hold on. Let me add some sauce. Okay. So, I don't know if you noticed. I hope, you know, from editing you'll see the sauce itself reduced by like a third. So, hearty yumminess to this. So, how are we going to plate it up? I've added a little sauce so this won't, you know, stick. And quite frankly, in my family, we're extra sauce people because, I don't know, it's just delicious. You spent 17,000 hours making this. I know you didn't, so that's hyperbole. Another English lesson. You spent a few hours making this, and truthfully, let's go backwards for a second because I don't want you to just open the jar and pour it in. You could have done what I did in like 20 minutes. You would have had a young sauce. It wouldn't have had as much flavor, but you could have done that. You really could. 30 minutes. 30 minutes. You could have done that. Been done and said, I'm starving. Let's go. But no, we're at a point where people are walking by saying, is it done yet? Is it done yet? And like I said to you earlier, your family's going to be like, please feed me at this point. So anyway, all right, I'll have a little fun. So, how do I plate this? I've got my pasta that's cooked beautifully. You know, for me, that's not enough sauce. So, I go to the pan, I add some sauce. I add some sauce because I'm a dunker. What am I going to do next? Boom, place a piece of bread in there. Now, could I have made garlic bread with this? Yes, you could have, and maybe someday I'll teach you that. But I'm not done yet. No, because that's gorgeous and beautiful and sexy and wonderful, but we're going to add some cheese because I want it to taste good. I've got this beautiful plate of pasta and things like that. I'm going to take some basil because I love basil. And what I'm going to do is, as opposed to chiffonade, and I want you to look that term up so I don't teach you how to do it, I'm just going to use scissors and cheat and just put that fresh, gorgeous basil on there, and it's going to be unctuous and wonderful. Now, 99% of the time you're done. You're going to eat that. You're going to be like, I am kid of the year. Like mom and dad, dude and dudettes, I'm kid of the year. But because it's me and how I operate, you know, I'm going to take a little of those crushed red pepper flakes. Oh, yes, that's going to be good. And I'm not actually going to add the ground black pepper. I just use that, and then I've got this incredible meal that tastes delicious. So, for me, on this episode, manja, 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 manja. Enjoy. I'll see you guys soon. Miss you guys.